Hello, today we are going to be looking at a review that was made of some of my complaints, or actually just one of my complaints. As you know, or maybe will know, during the past 15-16 months I have submitted 4 complaints against, mostly against our chairman of the Dodge County Board, David Froling, for violations of state, county, and constitutional law, and I've been hitting a roadblock. What I have found out recently is that the sheriff, Dale Schmidt, and our former district attorney, Kurt Klomberg, actually did some follow-up on some of these complaints and then never really let me know. I had no idea they did it. I have found these now and have looked through them, and I think you are going to be interested in, I guess we would call it a quasi-complaint, Q-U-A-S-I. And a quasi-review done by former District Attorney Kurt Klomberg. Well, he, I believe, has lowered himself to new lows in investigative authority. And he doesn't call it an investigation. He calls it a review. So I submitted a complaint. He complained that it looked too official. Well, the district attorney office offers no guidance on how a complaint or allegations of wrongdoing should be addressed, so I just did it for his office, and he had a bird about that, but he never told me any different, so I didn't know. But what this quasi-review did was it leaves legal requirements unsatisfied. It's a poor job performance, if you ask me. It could be considered negligence if you really look at what a review and or investigation should look like. But he submitted this review on January 12th, 2023. Ironically, he received this complaint in September of 2022, did nothing. I called up, he did nothing, didn't say he was going to do anything. He had a lot of things on his plate. Well, the day, let's just say the last day of work, because he resigned, on his last day of work, he quickly did a review of my complaint. Now, is that how you do things correctly? So this September 20th, 2022 complaint was a violation of county law by Chairman David Froling. And in this complaint, which you can see on this website, by date and a video, you will see what I'm talking about. Here in this review, D.A. Klomberg says, no, I think the county board should police itself. Yes, that's what they should do. They should police themselves. He states that county ordinances are not laws. And I go, wow, that's quite a statement. Now, he didn't say if some ordinances weren't laws or all ordinances weren't laws. He said county ordinances shouldn't be considered laws. But here, Black's Law Dictionary, for ordinance, a law, rule, or ordinance enacted or adopted by the legislative body of a municipal corporation. All right, what's the legislative body of the municipal corporation called Dodge County? The Board of Supervisors. And we do, I'm a member of that board, we do enact ordinances which are laws for the county. Now, why do they do that? For the proper conduct of its affairs. That's the first thing. These ordinances are enacted to make sure the Dodge County government acts legally. And that includes the Board of Supervisors, some members who haven't. Or for the government of its inhabitants. That's you and me when I'm not in the government, and you if you're not in the government at all. It's like, these are laws that govern your behavior, make sure it's legal. So if we have to be legal in our behavior, why doesn't the chairman of the board have to be? That's called rule of law. Well, it's a municipal ordinance carries the state's authority and has the same effect within that municipality's limits as a state statute. So county ordinances carry the same authority and weight as a state statute does in the state, but this is just in our Dodge County. So D.A. Klomberg is wrong. Now get a load of this. According to 1 Judith of Gallagher, Municipal Ordinance number 1A.01, second edition, 1998, an ordinance is as much as an act of the state's legislature. That is an ordinance. So we have a problem here. District Attorney Klomberg must have inadvertently missed out on what an ordinance really is, but he also states that the county board should police itself. So now here's another problem. In what form of constitutional government do you have a legislative body enforcing the laws that it enacts? Do you ever hear of balance of powers? You cannot have the same body making laws and enforcing laws. The Supreme Court of Wisconsin stated that again in summer of 2020. Yep, I believe it was summer of 2020 they came down with a decision like that. So why would our head lawyer, head attorney of the county say these things? Unless he's protecting someone, I say. Well, I also have been informed of Chapter 30. See, county board behavior is listed in Chapter 2.01 of the County Code of Ordinances, Dodge County Code of Ordinances. And everybody says there's no enforcement in this chapter, so you can't enforce it. It's just laws that can't be enforced. And I go, what good is a law that can't be enforced? Let's just get rid of them, right? Well, Chairman Froling breaks a county law. All you hear is, oh, too bad, so sad, can't enforce it, nothing there. Well, Chapter 30 of the Dodge County Board Code of Ordinances, Section 30.04 has those penalties and provisions listed within them. And we'll get at that a little later. Why doesn't anybody else know this, right? Well, Klomberg insists that the only solution to handle this kind of behavior is through the political process. This is all what he says in this review of my complaint. So we are supposed to solve this problem of breaking county laws politically. And I go, wow, we're getting nowhere fast, if you know what I mean. County laws are broken, and we turn to the political process for remedy. There is a legislative branch and there is an executive branch. Guess what the responsibility of the executive branch is? To enforce the laws that come out of the legislative branch. That's the district attorney and sheriff for sure, as far as I know. Well, in Chapter 30, the penalty provisions are stated in the introduction as this: general penalty. Except as otherwise provided, any person who shall violate any provision of this, the Dodge County Code, shall, upon conviction of such violation, be subject to a penalty which shall be as follows. And it lists out first infraction, second offense, third offense, that kind of stuff. But the county board has to police itself, right? There is more to this than meets the eye. So District Attorney Klomberg decided not to prosecute and convict. Oh well, I believe for faulty reasons. How convenient for the lawbreaker. So, Dodge County Ordinance 2.01, parenthesis 33, and here's the crux of this complaint. There was a removal of a supervisor from a committee and the appointment of another supervisor to take this place, and it was done illegally. I will tell you now how it is supposed to be done. In the beginning of a new session after election, the chairman appoints members to all the regular and standing committees of the county board. Then, since he's doing this on his own time, he doesn't do this during a meeting, he does this on his own time, apart from any other supervisor participation. Then at the next meeting, when it's done, the board sees the appointments and officially must confirm them in open session. and they are confirmed for a 2-year term. Now, these supervisors have a way to get off the committees. Number one, they can resign. They can submit a letter of resignation to the chairman of the board, to the chairman of the committee, and to the county clerk. If that supervisor submits a letter of resignation, officially resigning, he's off, and then the chairman will appoint a new member. But what if that individual does not want to resign, but the chairman wants him replaced? There is also a procedure to follow. Number one, it says the supervisor, supervisors can be removed before 2 years is up only this way by recommendation of the board chairman. So the board chairman has to make a recommendation to the board, I want to remove this supervisor from this committee. Then in addition, there has to be a motion and a second in support of that recommendation from the full board, from 2 people there, and there has to be a vote. And the vote has to be an affirmative vote of not less than 2/3 of members elect. In other words, the chairman says, I want this person removed. One supervisor says, I make a motion to remove him. Another one says, I second that motion. And the vote comes in. We have 33 supervisors on the board. No less than 22 must vote yes for that supervisor to remove. It's a protection mechanism put in so a rogue chairman with a few minions following him can't do something on their own. Well, once a proper and legal removal takes place, then also the chairman can appoint another supervisor who also has to be confirmed by the full board. None of this happened to remove me in May. No, that wasn't May. That was later. That was in September of 2022. None of that was accomplished. How did District Attorney Klomberg skirt this law in his review of my complaint? He did not want to investigate and prosecute David Froling. He didn't want to convict him of any wrongdoing, even though he broke the law. So, in his review of the situation, he came up with more than one false premise. And you can read his review on this site also. He says, he said that my unexcused absences from committee meetings constitute a de facto resignation by abandonment. Number one, he says unexcused. Right off the bat, I called up the chairman of the committee and said, I cannot attend meetings on Monday mornings at 9 or 10 o'clock. I just get through the weekend. I have a job, maybe, right? And Monday mornings will never work for me. And I said, never. So I couldn't make the meetings. That should have been enough for him to know why I wasn't coming. I can't make that time, but they listed me as unexcused anyhow. So that was a false fact right there. What does de facto mean? Because they said that these unexcused absences from the committee meetings constituted a de facto resignation. De facto means having an effect even though not formally or legally recognized. It's an illegitimate, but it's illegitimate in effect, but it's very similar to the real deal. That's de facto. So because I didn't attend and because they say they were unexcused, that then was a reason to say I resigned. But it was not a real resignation. And as I read before, the legitimate resignation is a letter that goes to 3 people. This was not like that. Similar in points, but very different in specificity. So that legal support for de facto resignation of county board supervisor committee positions is false. It's a new law that D.A. Klomberg just happened to make up for his case here. But wait, he's not the legislature. He can't make up laws or rules. You can't find anything of this or like this in there. But he continues to play his game of make-believe. He brings in a twist. See, everything has an element of truth in it, but it's not true many times. So he imagines correctly that a county supervisor is considered kind of an employee of Dodge County. They're not a legitimate employee. They don't go to work, punch in every day, 5 days a week. Well, I guess employees work 4 days a week mostly these days over there, but I didn't tell you that. The supervisor of Dodge County, me, was placed under the employment policy rules for regular employees of Dodge County, and he pulled out Dodge County policy number 123. It governs employee job attendance. Maybe he can use this. Let's see how he twists this up. It says if an employee fails to show up for work 3 days in a row without informing anybody that he's not coming, he or she is not coming, he's in trouble. He must tell the department head, the designee, or the HR department what's going on. Well, an employee is considered to have voluntarily resigned as a result of job abandonment if he does not inform anybody of not coming to work 3 days in a row. This is a basis for a supervisor on a committee to be accused of job abandonment. Do you see what I mean? This is not a real review. It's not a real investigation. It is fake. And it is for a purpose. And then DA Klomberg states, County Board Chairman has to look to county employment rules and policies to guide his decision-making for county board matters? I mean, we're really getting out in left field here. This is what is going on in Dodge County government. And this is laughable. It is obviously absurd and inept. I'm going to call it the way I see it. And you can see it too, and you can look at county laws and see that I'm true on this statement. It is extremely unprofessional. This is what I am fighting to keep things lawful and legal in Dodge County. I am fighting the law enforcement agencies' unwillingness to hold certain people above the law. We have to stop this. So, where lies the facts and the truth in this review? Nowhere in this attorney's work that he put together, but it accomplished a purpose. You have to stand back and watch and look at the big picture. District Attorney Klomberg had to find a way not to prosecute and convict our chairman of the board who broke county law and state law and constitutional law. And this level of lawlessness is unacceptable as far as I'm concerned. His report was a product of negligence, and when due diligence was demanded, he couldn't follow through. So I want you to help. Look at the other items on this website. You will become more informed about what is going on. Call people wherever you can and say, we have to stop this level of lawlessness yesterday. This was a little background of what their investigations or reviews really entail. It's a great disappointment. Thank you.